Thank you. All right. Hello everybody and welcome to Wowhead Weekly number 168. I am Annie, or also known as Annie Fuchsia. I'm a full-time streamer on Twitch, mostly play World of Warcraft as you may have guessed, and I am here co-hosting together with Perculia.
Hey everyone, I am the site director for Wowhead. I oversee the news and the content and the various features we put on the site. And I always really like doing the show, even though I don't stream full time, just so I can connect with the community and let you guys know what has been going on with the site in the last week, because there's always a lot of things going on. We have a giveaway today in Twitch chat. The prize is a purple puffer TCG pet, and the keyword to enter is puffers. Puffers. And yeah, we don't have the longest show this time probably, but we have some really kind of wild topics to discuss, like Battle for Azeroth hamburgers and a Battle for Azeroth wrestling match. So
definitely some different things to talk about than usual. But before we get into those more unconventional things to talk about on a World of Warcraft podcast, we want to talk to you guys about the Warbringers episode featuring Jaina. So I'm not sure if you guys have watched it yet. If you have not, don't worry, I actually have it here. Do you think it's a good idea for us to play it, for them to see it?
Yeah, it's an awesome episode. I wouldn't mind seeing it again.
It could be a little bit long for some people, but I do think it's worth showing you guys in case you haven't seen it. If you've seen it already, I'm sure you'd love to see it again anyways.
Yeah.
So let's get going and start the show tonight with showing you guys the episode, the Jaina episode of Warbringers.
Beware, beware, the daughter of the sea. Beware, I heard him cry. His words carried upon the ocean breeze as he sank beneath the tide. Those blood-soaked shores of Kalimdor, where sailors fought and died, the admiral fell at their amour because she left his side.
Why this, so daughter of the sea? Why this, did you forget her seaside days? Always the pride of our nation's eyes. How could she go astray?
When she did flee across the ocean deep, the admiral followed west. What else but sail to save a daughter's life and brave distant regret? But there he found upon those distant shores enemies on the rise. But when he faced those savage foes, his daughter stood aside and buried deep beneath the waves, betrayed by
listening now? Father. I heard, across a moonlit sea, the old voice warning me. Beware, beware, the daughter of the sea. Beware, beware of me.
All right. The chills.
Yeah, the art was so gorgeous in that cinematic.
It really was. And like I said, I've watched that multiple times, and this time I couldn't actually hear it. So when I'm playing it for you guys, I can't hear it. But even just like watching the artwork and like the video itself, or in animation rather, it's beautiful. Like on so many levels. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I keep noticing new little details every time, whether it's like symbolism with the colors or some detail in the background. So I'm really excited. I can't wait to see the other two Warbringers, ones for Sylvanas and Ashara.
Me too. So there's quite a few things to notice that's going on in the animation. One of the first things that happens is that we sort of get introduced, or we see a figure which reminds us of the ferryman from Greek mythology. And there's a lot of things that actually, maybe we should take it a step back even from them. Perk, maybe you want to talk about how the ending of the comic is actually the beginning of the animation. And when the first time I saw that, I was mind blown. I'll show you guys a few pictures as Perk talks about it.
Yeah, so Christy Golden was highlighting on her Twitter how there's a lot of continuity. It's not just like, oh, there's a cinematic and then there's like an unrelated book. Everything is tied together. So if you remember the Battle for Azeroth cinematic at BlizzCon, how Jaina has opening words, she is talking about how the words of her father and how she didn't believe him at the time. And then we go to Before the Storm, where there is a chapter where she goes off on a mysterious mission to find something that she loves. And then we have the comic reunion, where she, using magic, is like spying on the people in her homeland and realizes that they all hate her. And it ends with her kneeling by a sword. And then Warbringers picks up where she is by those same swords and is taking the anchor pendant off of the sword. So it all ties together really well, and I think that's awesome and just shows how polished Blizzard is getting in telling their stories. I think, Christy Golden was hired as a full-time staffer, not just a freelancer, and you can see how the teams have way increased coordination in all of their storytelling efforts.
I'm gonna quickly go back to the comic again. So on the right side there, you see the sword, and you see that the pendant or medallion is visible on the sword as well, which is something that I never had noticed before until this was pointed out to me. And then back to where the Warbringers show starts, right here. You see it again.
And there's going to be even more continuity, I believe, moving forward. So not to spoil anything, but I believe that ship will play a large role. And there are models of Jaina datamined with her in her normal dress and also then wearing an anchor pendant. So, there seems to be some symbolism. Maybe now she feels she is unworthy of the anchor pendant and gives it to that shadowy figure. But at some point later on, obviously with her story tied to Kulturas, she is at some point finds herself worthy of wearing it again.
And yeah, the ship is the ship seems to, so what we see in this little short clip, if you haven't watched it, you should go watch it straight away. Hopefully you have watched it, just like we have multiple times. In this cinematic, we see how she is paying this ferryman with this medallion, and is given a sort of path to get to the ship which once belonged to her father. And this will be the same ship that she'll use later on to travel to Kul Tiras, right?
Yeah, and I believe also in Lordaeron, she shows up on a boat, and it makes sense this would be the same boat.
So everything is connected together.
Yeah. And also another note about the ferryman, it's sort of like, did she do some horrible magic to raise this figure from the dead, or is this something symbolic in her head? Because it seems the ferryman is associated with her father because he vanishes when she says finally that she is listening.
Yeah, she does. Maybe it's a way to, because he looks, you know, he looks kind of dead, right? So maybe it's...
Yeah, definitely dead. And but he kind of has the same like facial hair as the Kul Tiran. It's not just like it's not just like a figure with, you know, no details on it. So
yeah, and you also notice he's also wearing some kind of Kul Tiran robe-ish. You can see that towards in the end, before he disappears, when she says that she's listening, you can see that there's slight details on the arms that shows that he's wearing the sort of robes from the Kul Tiras. And I think it's just a way to represent her father being dead, right? And the path could be a way to, you know, ask her dad for forgiveness by paying with a pendant. And the spirits are probably a representation of her dad, maybe some other spirits there as well. There's so many ways, there's so many things that it could mean. And I actually found it so interesting to listen to different people's views on what they think it actually is, because it could be interpreted in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, another interesting detail I wanted to point out is that the song, we also have bits of it as we actually quest in Stormsong Valley. And when Jaina returns to Kul Tiras, they have some, you know, phrases like "Beware the daughter of the sea." So it is interesting how this song is even now in the lore. It's not just this detached thing, which feels like they were starting to integrate stuff in Legion with the Harbingers cinematics, how you could like click on a book and see the cinematic related to that character. And this just feels they've taken all the integration to another level.
Oh, yeah, good point. Good point. And speaking of Beware of the Daughter of the Seas, the very ending, the chills from that scene. So in the very end, she, instead of saying Beware of the Daughter of the Seas, she says Beware of me. And what could that mean? Some people are being, you know, ridiculous. No, yeah, I'm kidding. I was going to say people are being ridiculous, calling her a possible boss fight. I mean, you never know. I certainly don't hope that she does become a boss fight, but you can definitely feel how she's ready to, you know, be in this sort of big war.
Yeah, like she's stepped up and she has made her own opinion and come to terms with what she's done, and she's not apologizing to anyone. She's like, I'm going to do this, and I'm just fed up with everyone, and you know, if you don't like what I'm going to say, like, get out of my way. Like, I'm not just gonna like be like, oh, I'm sorry, and just, you know, leave Dalaran. She's going to take a stand for what she feels is right. And, you know, she said a lot of stuff that people have ignored. You know, like, you know, but we're the Horde, they've done this, you know, you should not let these people in, something bad will happen again. And it seems that whenever maybe she has a slanted view of things, but it seems that she is always seeing the worst possible thing, which sort of justifies her prophecies, and there is some truth to what she is saying. Like, at one point, she's even worried that the Horde will burn down Teldrassil in an early Legion dialogue. She's like, what if they try to attack Teldrassil? And it's like, oh, look, they are. So...
I think if, I definitely don't think that she's trying to be apologetic to other people. I think she's coming out to be very strong. But I think she is hoping for her father's forgiveness, right? Because of, I think she, in a way, I think she is feeling regret, maybe not regret in a bad way, not one that's tearing her down, but one that she's come to peace with, and she is sort of, in a way, from now on, going to try and make up for it.
Yeah, I think that she's tried to view the past as like a learning experience, where she has more clarity on what she believes in, as opposed to saying, oh, I feel like in early Jaina was like, okay, I'm in the situation and I'm going to try to make the best of it. And she was always sort of apologizing or playing the diplomat and putting herself in a stressful role, or seeing what was best for others, and then that all fell apart after Theramore. That was sort of like, oh, well, you know, everything you believed in is a failure. Look, your city is destroyed now. And she's been trying to find her voice, I think, ever since then, as well as dealing with the trauma of, you know, having her city, you know, completely obliterated by Garrosh and the Mana Bomb. So I think it's also telling that this cinematic starts in Theramore, which is such a painful place for her, and it seems like she's able to go to the graves and, you know, make some peace and has a purpose now and is channeling her fury into something specific, as opposed to, you know, just wanting to nuke Orgrimmar like she was thinking of doing right after Theramore.
Because a lot of people are wondering, you know, what is happening with her? What is she doing during Legion? And I feel that this is a good time to see how she is actually, you know, coming to peace with the things that were bothering her and not being able, or not possible for her to see clearly what she wants to do or what she should do. And now it seems like she's reached that point of clarity. And something else I want to point out in the cinematic, or in this Warbringers, was that Jaina, in the very end, when she says, "Beware of me," the words "of me" are actually not sung. It's the only words in the whole little short animated clip which is not sung. It's just kind of like a sort of darker breath speaking, like "of me," you know? And that's also just more putting more emphasis on how it's such a big deal. And I think for a lot of people, that is also why it gave people chills, because it's not continuation of the song. She's not continuing singing, but she's, you know, turning completely serious about what she's about to do.
She's not continuing the narrative in the song that, you know, she's horrible and abandoned everyone and, you know, is terrible. She's sort of trying to make her own story and is breaking with that narrative in the song, you know, quite literally by, you know, instead of singing, she's like, okay, like, this is me. Yep. I'm taking charge. I'm not just going to keep singing that I'm a horrible person.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I'm really excited for the other ones to come out. I can't wait to see what's going to be in them.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to be sung as well.
Oh, yeah, this is the first one that's singing, right?
Yeah, so I like the Illidan one, for example. It was Illidan like narrating the life of some elves that decided to be demon hunters. Like everyone basically had some sort of spoken dialogue last time. But with the singing, this makes me wonder if we're going to get Lament of the Highborn for Sylvanas. And cinematics director Taryn Gregory recently tweeted out the lyrics to Night Song, which, you know, is an Elven song, and it says "Glory to Ashara" in it. So that's making me wonder, are we going to be getting some, like, you know, "Glory to Ashara," you know, the, you know, crown of whatever. And that would be really spooky if, like, she's behind the burning of Teldrassil. She's like, you know, I can't stand what this empire has become, you know, like, burn it to the ground type thing. But that would be very interesting.
That would be really cool. My first thought was like, nah, I don't think there's going to be music, because the Jaina one is very special. It's like you mentioned before, like we already saw the lyrics in the text, or like in dialogues in the game itself for BFA, so it made sense for it to be sung, because I think a lot of people probably wondered, like, how does it actually sound when we know it's a folk song, right? But I think you make very good points there, and now I'm even more excited to see if they are going to be sung or not.
Yeah, I mean, and we know that the Sylvanas one will be when she was a high elf.
Yeah.
So that song does
make
fit.
sense. Yeah. So,
do
we know when these are going to be out?
I don't know. I have seen on eBay some limited art prints of the Sylvanas one from SDCC. People are trying to resell them, so it's a little strange that that is on sale, but they didn't have like Jaina art at SDCC. But I have no idea. If I had to guess, I think it would be interesting if we had the burning next week and we had Sylvanas, but they didn't have the burning in Sylvanas's. Then I was like, what's going on? And then maybe the week after, like August 6th, we have Ashara with some reveal that the burning is there. But I don't know. It could be Sylvanas. Obviously, it's likely pointing to her being involved because she is in the actual artwork. But I don't know. I just have this feeling that Ashara is involved in some way.
Yeah, I think so too, and I'm hoping so in a way. I want the story to be more complicated.
Yeah, right now in the next thing we're talking about, the War of the Thorns, it's very not complicated. It's very much like take control of the tree, like we're instigating a war, yay!
Yep. Yeah, it's very like straightforward, like black and white. You know, nothing can be misunderstood. Sylvanas wants war, and this is what's gonna happen. I think it would be really interesting if we get a little twist of the things that we think and are blaming Sylvanas for, or possibly blaming Sylvanas for, is actually not by Sylvanas, but by Ashara instead. I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, you also have to wonder if maybe Ashara was trying to manipulate everyone. So, like, we've known that Azeroth can enhance sort of people's personalities, so maybe it's making like Sylvanas more into wanting war, and Anduin being more idealistic and wanting to have the meetup like before the storm, and it's making Jaina misremember the past and think that like all the Horde, you know, are evil. So you wonder if the Azeroth and Ashara is trying to warp everyone's judgment. But I mean, I do have to say, just look at the first part, Sylvanas does come across worse than the other members of the Horde as well as the Alliance. Like, if everyone is warped by Azeroth, she's really being warped by Azeroth.
Yeah, it's a good point you make as well, because it's not just like the Horde is awful and the Alliance wants peace. It's also like there's different characters as well. So there are, you know, Horde characters that are not as evil as Sylvanas, and then the question remains, like, why is Sylvanas that evil? Are they, is Blizzard trying to portray someone who's going to become a really evil boss in the end, or what's going to happen, or is everything a misunderstanding? Like, Ashara is going to come in, and then we'll see some kind of, you know, maybe we'll see Sylvanas actually being surprised and, like, not being happy about that, you know? Like,
right.
Because, like, she wanted to take over Teldrassil, but she didn't necessarily want to burn it all down, and then maybe we'll witness how Sylvanas is not happy with that complete destruction.
Right. So time will tell. I mean, but right now we've got this first chapter that ends in a stalemate, and it's I don't know, she looks, even in the cinematic Blizzard made announcing this, like, she's very, the Alliance is like, protect our land, and Sylvanas is like, get the tree, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, that sounds very black and white as to who's in the right here.
Yeah. So what we're talking about here is the War of Thorns is what it's called, right? The quests that have opened up in the latest maintenance for both NA and EU by now. And the first part is this week, and the second part is next week. And in the part of next week is when we'll have a few more questions answered.
Hopefully.
About what actually happens to Teldrassil, because a part of the quest line, as we showed before, actually shows some parts after some cinematics that have not been shown yet, right?
Right.
It's missing some parts in it, and we are thinking, or we're guessing, that those cinematics will explain a lot more.
Right. So, like, we still don't know why the tree burns. Especially on the Horde, there seems to be a missing cutscene, and on the Alliance side, you go from the elves saying, you know, let's see if the transition of the city is peaceful, and you go to the city and it's on flames. We're like, whoa, what's going on?
Exactly. So we will most likely be finding out what's going to happen. So Tuesday for NA and Wednesday for EU. And also at the end of this quest line, in case you forgot, you also get the two mounts. The bat for Horde characters and the Hippogriff for Alliance. A lot of people have been giving feedback on the quests being really short, and people are saying it's just 10 minutes of content, there's nothing going on. But it's I think it's just meant to be a little opening for the new stories that is unfolding. Is it a bit too short? Maybe. I think it could have been nicer with something that we talked about before, with having maybe a couple more cinematics involved there. Because even some of the Silithus quest lines were really short, but the cinematics made them like more interesting. So maybe a couple cinematics would have made it a bit more interesting, but it is just meant to open up the storylines for next week. I think that next week will be a lot more epic.
I think it would have been good if we saw our artifact weapons totally disintegrating.
Yeah, yeah, that's a
Like
really
we
good
just saw them getting
example.
bigger, and that would
Yeah.
have been a big impact. Like, oh, we're a hero, and look at us, we were heroic, and now our weapons are even bigger. And it's like, oh God, they just fell apart, and now we
Yeah.
have this war going on. Like
That's a
just a
very good
moment
point.
of, like, I mean, it's not really touched upon in the official quest, but you have to imagine that if we did all these heroic things and we defeated the Legion and we think we have this peace, and now all of a sudden everything is falling apart, and our weapons that we were using in combat as heroes have turned to junk, that it's probably messing with our heads a lot, and we're all kind of panicky and not really sure, like we're not as strong as we thought we were. And that would have been interesting to convey in game.
I agree. In game and a cinematic, I think, would be really cool for that as well. Like, we had the cinematic of when we're empowering our weapons, and then it would be cool to have a cinematic to show when it's, breaking apart, when it became too strong that it just exploded.
Yep. So, what you can do after you do the little 10-minute quest line is that there are some world quests. This part I can see the criticism about more. So the rewards from the world quests, they're not like unique transmog. They're just sort of
I was
generic.
a little bit sad about that.
Yeah, and there's no invasion-esque counterpart. I guess there's war mode, which is turned on, but I don't know if I know PvP is not for everyone. But if you do like PvP, you can work on bounty hunter and air supply drops. But there's no equivalent of an invasion. There's no special like leveling content. At least with the invasion, you could be a low level and do the invasion, but there's no special like elven weapons or horde weapons or armor or like bosses you get to kill. There's none of that, so I can see why people think that maybe this feels less less expansive in general.
I totally agree. I think having some kind of unique armor or unique something to remember the pre-event for BFA, I think is sad that that's lacking.
Yeah. But I know that people are saying that this quest line is really, difficult to do. Obviously not technically difficult, but just it's very sad to do. So it does have an emotional impact, for obvious reasons. But so maybe that makes up for less content. But I don't know. I still think it would be good to have more content, especially if you are not a night elf. Maybe this does not like resonate with you as much and you still want some interesting pre-patch to do.
And maybe you're a relatively new player. Maybe it's your first pre-patch or pre-expansion event. Maybe it's your maybe you're not that involved in the lore, and if you're not that involved in the lore, it is actually not that much to do. So if you take away the story, it's just a few quests, and then you're unlocking world quests, and the world quests don't even give anything unique. So I think from like that kind of player point of view, I think it's even more disappointing, because then they get basically nothing. And it would be cool to have like some kind of unique gear, or like you mentioned, maybe some kind of special bosses that drop unique gear or unique toy, or anything that would just be a part of this expansion as a representation of it.
I also feel that if you read Before the Storm, you may have more sympathy for Sylvanas, but she comes across a little like in the wrong or severe there as well. But if you haven't read Before the Storm, you're probably like, whoa, like where did this come from? We go from, like celebrating in Orgrimmar and Stormwind to, Sylvanas being like, this changes everything with Azeroth. Oh, look, we'll go to Teldrassil. So she does seem a bit aggressive here.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because the latest thing we saw before that, that's when they were, was it when they were eating together?
Yeah, they were eating together, and Gally was like, I found Azeroth, and she's like, oh, awesome, this changes everything. And Anduin's like, oh no, the Horde's probably doing something bad. And so that perspective would be like, oh, gee, like Anduin's worried about the Azeroth, and meanwhile, Sylvanas is all like, very aggressive into getting it. So it's, I can see why some people, if they're trying to sell the morally gray narrative, it's not really working if you don't know much about the game.
No.
It could be Blizzard's idea. Maybe they want everyone to hate Sylvanas, so if it's not 100% her involved in the tree, people are like, wow, we overreacted.
Exactly.
But
that's why
still,
I'm hoping for that too, how to kind of have that plot twist, because people are expecting like, Sylvanas is the one, she's, super into attacking the Alliance and like just burning them down, and then it turns out she wasn't the one who burned it.
Right. I mean, she still wanted to. Like, if she didn't go to war, would this have happened, though? I guess we'll find out next week, but it
Mm-hmm.
seems that maybe if a third party took advantage of the situation, she made that situation happen in the
Mm-hmm.
first place by creating the war.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. So
yeah.
quite a bit of new lore related stuff. It's funny how like we're discussing things that are to do with lore, but it's not spoilers. Like this
Right.
is because it's now actually happening, you know?
Yep.
So we don't have to put up some spoiler tags because I remember having some of these discussions and it's like,
I know they go
oh,
on
like we
and
need the
on.
spoiler tags. Like no one can listen to this.
Yep.
But it's cool that it's all happening live now.
Yep.
On to more game-related news. The release date for the Uldir raid has now been released for September 4th, which is 3 weeks after BFA launching. And apparently this was a similar time frame for Legion?
Yeah, it was around the same. I remember we did our article on September 19th, so it was the week of the 19th, which is when we had the Emerald Nightmare blog, and uh, Legion came out at the end of August. So
Yeah.
similar time frame. Actually, they just announced more raid testing for Uldir today,
Oh,
for
really?
July 27th. Yeah.
There you go. That's tomorrow.
Yep. And yeah, the schedule is the 4th is the regular, then 11th is Mythic and Raid Finder 1, 25th is Wing 2, and the 9th is Wing 3. And there's some interesting stuff from the raid if you haven't been paying that much attention for it. There are 8 bosses. They are doing a unique thing with Mythics and cross server Mythics. The first 100 guilds on each side to do Mythic Cahoon get a special title. And when both factions have 100 guilds with the kill, then it will open up to be cross realm. And there's also a lot of cool armor and weapon models. The armor by itself can be kind of drab, but the weapons are like bright neon, so when you pair them together, it's a neat effect. So this is a Titan facility in a troll area, but the Titan facility has been abandoned, so it's been kind of corrupted, and that's the vibe we're meant to get here. So we've got all these like laser weapons, but then also, Titan, gold, brass knobs everywhere.
Showing you guys a little quick recap of how the weapons look like. I think they look really cool. So it's going to be cool to see them in the game as well.
Yeah.
Also, a quick reminder of the mount that you can also obtain in this raid. I forgot what it's called. The Blood Gorged something?
Krog. Yeah, it's a Krog.
Is it?
Creepy
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
A very interesting looking thing. And is the reward of getting the achievement Glory of the Uldir Raider.
Yeah.
So just a quick reminder for those people who may be interested in that.
Yep. Our next topic is something that was not in the show notes, but it was published in the middle of our show. And
I was actually just gonna ask, like, how did I miss this? I don't remember reading
Yeah.
about this. All right,
Yeah.
live news. Live news.
But Blizzard has responded to leveling changes in the pre-patch, and the feel and pacing has changed from 7.3.5, and it's not intended. And players are getting concerned that Blizzard has not been able to fix this yet, or when they reply, it's always like, "Hey, we need more info." So Lore and Watcher Dev have been trying to explain where they are with this, and they're saying the feel and pacing of the level up experience is a top priority for the team. They know that there was a problem that happened in the pre-patch, but they don't exactly know where the problem lies, and they don't want to just change something and have that not actually fix what's going on. And I'm just reading this myself now as well. They think that something is wrong with scaling, but they don't exactly know where things went wrong with the scaling. And they're trying to figure out, like, were the stats on gear reduced too much? Are the abilities fine, but maybe the creature armor is tuned too high? Is the scaling curve off, and it's particularly bad in the 60 to 80 range? So they're trying to narrow down what the problem is. And they're saying if they can't figure it out by a while, they'll probably just do a blanket health reduction to mobs in the near future until they figure out what exactly is going wrong.
Yeah, apparently, because it says here, when they look at the raw data, they can't see any anomalies. Everything looks good. So what they have to do to test this issue is actually create a little test server of 7.35 builds and a separate server with 8.01 characters at around level 70. And then they're going to have to manually test the mobs out to see what is the difference and what is what is going on. So it seems it's like a pretty complicated thing that was just overlooked.
Yeah, they also said as a separate issue they're trying to look at in the 60 through 80 range, especially has combat pacing issues. And they're saying based on their data, they see that people in that range take 15% longer to level. So they're trying to work on some changes to make that part go a little faster to be in line with the other levels.
Interesting. 15% longer per level. What if that longer time isn't like perfect? Maybe it's just because people are spending time learning their specs and stuff. Well, I guess.
Well, it's like then it goes faster at 80. So it's like fast, slow, fast,
yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Or bad, even worse.
Yeah. All right. Well, good to know. Good to know. So heads up for you guys who are in the process of leveling. If you are between 70 and 80, you might experience mobs being a little bit strong, or that leveling is just generally a little bit slower. But they are. What was the final say on that? That they're still working on it?
Yeah, they'll probably do just nerf the health of mobs to make things easier, but they want to have a better solution long term. So probably like another fix soon. So
they probably want to have a real solution later, but for now they're just going to make the mobs have a bit less HP to make it easier and faster to kill them.
Yep. So that's basically it for WoW game news. We've had a bunch of other WoW articles on Wowhead going over like feedback for a certain spec, but that's kind of specialized for the show. But there's a lot of interesting like marketing and movie news related to the Warcraft universe that we wanted to cover for the rest of the show.
Warcraft the movie. What year did that come out now?
2 years ago, maybe?
It's not longer than that?
I think, I'm not sure. But yeah, maybe 2 or 3 years. It came out right before Legion.
All right, so 2 or 3 years ago. Warcraft movie came out, and Duncan Jones apparently just recently tweeted out some behind-the-scenes clips. And some of these clips look really cool. So I wanted to actually share it with you guys.
Yeah.
Let me get the first one on Elven Forest up. You can feel free to say something about it if you want to, Perk.
So the caption for this was a little sense of how crazy massive the Elven Forest film set was on Warcraft. And a lot of the replies were people saying they did not realize how they thought everything was CGI. They didn't realize they actually built sets. And then other people said, hey, why does this have a different feel than Lord of the Rings? It doesn't feel as epic. It feels more small scale. And they replied it was a deliberate decision because in Warcraft, like, you can see the zone ahead of you, like, things change rapidly, so they wanted that same cartoony feel in places like Elmon. They didn't want it to feel like this was, like, the most epic, serious forest ever. They wanted it to feel like the vibe of Elwyn Forest in game.
All right, I'll show you guys the clip.
Yep.
I'm not sure if this is very loud. It shouldn't be too loud.
The quality is not the greatest either, but I mean, they're Twitter videos.
Yeah, they're Twitter videos. It looks like it's a recording of a screen as well.
Yeah.
But it looks really pretty. And you can see how the horses in the video are tiny compared to the environment. And we know how big horses are, and they're just running freely around everywhere.
Yep.
It's beautiful. I can't tell if it's repeating. No, it's running. They're running back now. What was this for? So these are some behind-the-scenes clip from the Warcraft movie.
He just tweeted them for fun.
Yeah, he just tweeted them for fun for, you know, for Warcraft fans to check out how it looked like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We also have another one, and this was a bit of a sad one, you could say. Well, not the clip itself being sad, but it's sad because this was a part of the troll invasion, which was not included in the movie. So we got some behind the scenes stuff of things that were not in the movie. Let's see here.
Okay.
Yeah, again, maybe not the best quality, but hopefully you get a good idea of how it looks like. And you know, they're showing all the cameras and stuff as well. You can see how much time and everything that they put into these little scenes is pretty amazing.
And this was the only place I think we would have seen trolls. So, you know, I know people were sad when they kept seeing makeup and behind the scenes for trolls, and the trolls never really made it into the movie.
Yeah. I have 2 more videos to show you guys. Let me see. We've got one where they're walking through the armory.
You can see how happy they are.
Yeah.
Like, they really had some passion for it.
Uh-huh. All those weapons and shields. And the last one, which is of what was the last one?
It's
the top of Karazhan. Yeah.
So it's like where Medivh gets his magical energy from.
Mm-hmm. I see a few people commenting a baby at the end. I think the baby was actually outside my window.
Oh.
So if you heard that, that was an IRL baby, not part of the video. Or at least I don't think so. Maybe there was a video, maybe baby in the video too at the same time. I'm not sure.
There's a lot of people in the video.
Yeah, there are a lot of people. Might have been a baby in the video too. I'm not sure. But yeah, those were it. I think it's really cool how they, you know, just shared a few behind the scenes clips. I think people love seeing those kind of things, you know, when they have a favorite movie. It's always fun to see, or not necessarily favorite movie, but just, you know, a movie that they enjoyed. It's always fun to see what happens behind the scenes. And this way we got to, you know, see a little bit of a sneak peek into that.
Yeah, it's too bad there wasn't a director's cut because it seems that he wanted to be a lot longer than it was, and it would have explained some plots more, and, you know, like having the trolls in it. I think they even cut a clip of Chris Metzen, like that was cut from it. So it's just sad the movie didn't reflect what he wanted it to be and how bizarre the marketing was with like weird kind of, I don't know, making it sound like it was hockey or making it seem like getting races mixed up with the Alliance and the Horde, like mislabeling some characters. So, yeah, it's just too bad. I'm not sure if this was maybe the right story to start with. Maybe something like Arthas would have been an easier story to tell for film because it has more of like a clear like beginning, you know, middle and end type of thing.
Yeah, because that was a huge issue too. And that's why they had to change a lot of things in the story to make sense for a movie perspective, you know, for all the people who are going to watch the movie who may not know anything about the lore in World of Warcraft. And for the people who do know about the lore in World of Warcraft, it might have been very confusing.
Yeah, like, you know, this war ends with like Stormwind sacked, and in the movie it's like, oh, we prevail. And like, it's just very hard to keep track of all the different characters on both sides. And you know, it would be like this, the film ends with the picture, you know, with like Thrall as a baby, and like to a WoW player they'd be like, oh yeah, it's Thrall, but then they'd be confused why Stormwind was different, and to a different type of person watching they'd be like, why is there this baby, why am I meant to care about the baby, type thing. So I feel like maybe Arthas would have been more of a safer bet for this, for like a first one, and then they could, if that had gone well, they could have highlighted different parts in the lore.
Yeah, or as someone mentions in the chat, like even a story on Lich King, I think could have been a bit easier to not confuse, or to have like a clear story. But yeah,
there's just one central figure, and it's like he's like noble intentions, meant well, like sacrificed everything, sacrificed too much to keep his kingdom, like lost his kingdom, sort of
Yep.
went overboard. Like it's like a tragic, serious story, but it's clearer than like having like three different factions involved.
I am really sad that it's, just the. I think I'm still telling myself that it's not the last Warcraft movie, but everything is pointing towards it. No sequel, no other part of World of Warcraft being made as a movie. But I would have loved to see it, because honestly, like if you remove like this sort of story confusions that could have happened, the movie themselves were really well made. Like the CGI and everything was really well done. I loved it. It was
And
awesome.
when we're discussing Warbringers Jaina, it's like we know that when Blizzard can be involved and they have more control over the product, they can tell really good stories at their, own pace, like high production quality, highlighting. Like I would have not thought like, oh, we're gonna tell the story of this character with a song behind it, but it seems that they're willing to take some risks and add more, cinematics or the cutscenes where your characters are part of it. So it just seems it's too bad that maybe the movie studio was so heavy-handed in what they wanted, and I would just love to see more little things that Blizzard is bringing to life through movies or animated shorts.
But yeah, it's a shame to be reminded that like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, by the way, no sequel, or at least not
No
likely to
director's
be
cut
one.
even exists. Like his version of the movie does not exist. It's like, how crazy is that? They could have just
Yeah, imagine if they had one version of his, like with all the extra parts too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of movies have that. Like it's a common thing to have. Yeah.
They could have let to Warcraft fans easily have like a viewing party for like the real film.
Yeah, exactly. That's a shame.
Yeah. So we have some merch and then some marketing things on a happy note. We partnered with Jinx, and last week we revealed the complete line of their Battle for Azeroth merchandise, including new Alliance and Horde Pride hoodies. This collection launches on August 3rd, 2018, and the spotlight are these hoodies, which come with all the details you've come to expect from, Jinx hoodies like the Legion and Overwatch ones. They have lots of things like, a logo on the back. They have the faction crest, of course. What I really like is that they have the crest with all the factions that are part of that race. So
on the arm, right?
Yeah, so like one arm is the town crest, and then the other arm is Warcraft. And then on the back it says for the Alliance, for the Horde, and then on the front you have the Alliance or Horde symbol. So
yeah, I like these.
Cool. Yeah, they look fun.
I kind of I kind of have to admit, like, having my red hair and everything, like I am almost tempted to get the Horde version, but being for the Alliance, I cannot do that. And you guys did not hear me say this. I definitely think the Alliance one looks tons better. I will definitely be representing the Alliance.
Awesome.
But the Horde colors are sometimes tempting. you know?
Yeah.
They look good. They look good. But yes, for the Alliance for me.
Also in the collection, there are Visit Zandalar and Visit Kulturas tees, and they've kind of got like a retro, like travel brochure vibe to them, which is neat. There's also a lot of Alliance and Horde merch, as usual. There's some kind of like, I don't know, comic book style art Warfront tees for Stand as One with Anduin, and then Blood and Thunder with Sylvanas. There are socks, there are slouchy beanies, there are hats. There is a blackout logo tee. And if you are looking to buy any of this, we have a code through Jinx for the rest of the year. It's Wowhead, and it gives you 20% off all Blizzard products. So it will not only work on this merch, but also things like the Overwatch hoodies or existing merch. I know some people are saying they like the hoodies, but they would prefer if maybe it didn't have the text on the back so they could wear it to work. And Jinx also has hoodies that are similar without the wording on the back if you want to get one of those instead.
Good to know. Yeah, I do like these new designs for the t-shirts. So you got this one, for example, the Kulturas one. Got this one for Zandalar. and some other cool ones for Alliance as well.
Yep. So lots of cool stuff, and thanks to Jinx that we were able to, do the official reveal and highlight the hoodies first, even before the actual Jinx social media account. That was super cool.
Mm-hmm. And 20% discount is quite a lot, so don't forget to use code Wowhead if you want that discount. I really like these t-shirts, the ones that are for the Alliance, and then there's a similar one for the Horde where they're facing like the side. I really like those.
You can like line people up and
you have one person facing that side and then one person facing him back. Like those look really cool. A real battle for Azeroth feeling.
Yep. So now we get into the truly kind of experimental part of the show. Mm-hmm. With some marketing promotions we've seen around the world.
Some interesting ones.
Yeah. So first up, we've got Battle for Azeroth burgers.
Mm-hmm.
Burgers by Josh, which is a Australian chain, has special burgers at the Annandale Hotel or the Rabbie Tavern, and there is a Horde burger and an Alliance burger. The Horde burger is Nashville fried chicken, maple bacon, slaw, sauce, BBQ sauce, chili horns on a red potato bun. And the Alliance is $2 more, and it's premium
more
beef.
Expensive.
Yeah, American cheese, crispy bacon, a golden hash brown, pickled gold peppers, chili jam, lettuce, tomato, onion, and a popper on an electric blue bun. So these burgers are pretty massive.
Mm-hmm. So which one are you gonna go for, guys? Horde or Alliance? And what about you, Perk?
They're just like gigantic.
Yeah, I know.
I
almost feel like I'm not sure if I can eat any of them.
I don't know. Like I don't. There's like 2 patties in the Alliance one with a I don't know, potato thing stuck on top of the bun. Like I don't know. It seems like it's bigger than my head.
It's so true. They are massive. I think we're gonna have to ask for a kid size or something.
Yeah.
Maybe wait, do these burgers come with the toys?
No, they don't, but that would have been brilliant.
Yeah. Maybe the kid size does. So you're actually paying for the toy, not the burger.
Yeah,
if the burger is tiny.
I have the Griffin over here, so I don't know. Maybe I'd get the Horde toy because I don't know where the Horde one is, but yeah, they're really massive. But
Perk, what did you do with your Horde plushie?
I don't know, but I'm Alliance, so it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe Brightpaw hit it.
You don't know?
I don't know what I did.
Okay. All right. But yeah, I think it's really cool, really random how it's burgers that are of the 2 factions, and this was officially promoted by Blizzard as well, right?
Yeah, it was. I saw it on Blizzard ANZ.
Yeah.
Vote for your favorite faction with your taste buds.
Yeah. So, pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Mm-hmm. The next interesting way of marketing involves some wrestling.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get those. If we can get the banner up. There we go.
Yeah.
So, Perk, can you tell us more about this wrestling?
Sure. So, this is a wrestling match with the organization Lucha Libre AAA Worldwide. We didn't find a ton of promotion on it, but we found a blog called Media Tiempo talking about it, and they said this event, this is just Google Translate, the event will have a very special flavor. It is a direct confrontation between AAA and the Lucha Libre Elite, who will represent the 2 factions of the video game. And under the red banner, we have superstars like Psycho Clown and Son of the Phantom for the Horde. And then under the blue banner, we have LA Park and Electroshock, who fight for the glory of the Lucha Libre Elite and the Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at this promotional graphic, it seems that they have different rings, and each ring is named after the main ring is the Battle for Azeroth ring, but then there's also like an invasion ring and a Trial of Valor ring, and rings for different parts of the game, and they're all kind of dressed up to represent various characters. Like I watched part of this actually. It was on Twitch, and there were I don't know, like an Alliance Tauren, and then like some guy coming out with like all in gold with a crown. I don't know if he was meant to be Anduin, but it was, I don't know, it was hilarious to watch.
I actually missed it completely.
Like I had no idea until someone, I think like one of the Latin American CMs was like, oh, they tweeted, and I'm like, whoa, is this for real? And then I clicked this like link, and it was like 5,000 people are watching. And I'm like, oh my god, I should just cover this in the news and see if people find it interesting. And everyone's like, oh, this is so brilliant. And I'm like, wow, like I had no idea, but it's yeah. There's even like a YouTube trailer as well that's interspersing like in-game footage with the wrestling match.
Oh,
but yeah, it's really funny, and of course all this is scripted. You know, it's like, you know, 2 organizations with professionals. I think the Alliance won 4-2. I wasn't really sure what was going on, but yeah, I mean, it seemed to me like the marketing was just hilarious off the wall, but a lot of comments were that people really enjoyed this sort of thing, and it had a fair number of people watching it, so, you know.
And this was all in Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everyone on WoW was just like, oh my god, this looks so cool. Like, we're seeing people fight, and like everyone sounds so happy and excited and into it. Like, oh, this is innovative. So, yeah. But
yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we got burgers. We got wrestling. And now the third one that we have here may not be very odd, but is maybe not as common nowadays. Television ads. Like, how many people watch TV nowadays? I feel like most people just have Netflix if they have a TV. Otherwise, they just spend most of their watching things on the computer. Well, at least the younger generations.
Right. Well, I can see these ads running like in between, maybe, I don't know, like arena matches or like MDI or
definitely.
So Blizzard could reuse them.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm just trying to imagine like watching these ads on an actual TV, because it's probably gonna be on TV too, right?
Right. So my guess is that we'll show some of the ads, but some of what we found interesting is that the demographic was for, you know, not people in college 18, like there are some where people are at the office or have, you know, toddlers. So yeah, maybe people are watching, you know, TV with their family on the weekend or a holiday, you know, with, I don't know, taking the toddlers to see their grandparents, or they're watching stuff with their, you know, parents that are aging. So yeah, maybe people are gathered around the TV if these ads are targeted towards a older audience than usual.
It's very possible. But yeah, I was not saying that these are strictly TV only. I'm sure they will be used like online as well. I just wanted to talk about the TV aspect of the whole thing. And speaking of age groups that you kind of slightly touched on is something interesting that we'll notice as well with these videos. But yeah, let's jump straight into them. I've got them all here, so you guys can see for yourself what is going on in these ads.
Yep.
So let's play the first one, called Rainy Day.
Battle for Azeroth begins August 14th. Declare your allegiance and pre-purchase now.
I had some people point out that the videos are very loud. I'm gonna take a look at them so they're not too loud for you guys. I did turn it down in the end, but I'll make sure to check for the next ones too. But yeah, that was the first one, Rainy Day. I don't know if I should already say it, but this was probably one of my favorite ones. We have a few more to show you guys. Next one in line is called Kids' Choice.
Azeroth begins August 14th. Declare your allegiance and pre-purchase now.
That was Kit's choice for you guys. I feel like that one was a little bit unfair. I mean, the dad came in with a plushie that was, you know, three times as big as himself, and you know,
well, I think all these are silly. I like this one because I like the plushies the best.
Oh yeah,
and like
I do love the
I'm
plushies
in favor of like the giant bird kind of being like, I'm here, like I'm a bird and you're not, and just how the plushies are like kind of fighting with each other because our little friend who's under the chair always likes to fight with the plushies. So obviously, while if that happened in real life, I'd be like, okay, there are some like anger issues going on here. This would be weird. I don't know. I like the plushies. That resonated with me the most. And I have seen the gigantic plushie. It's actually in the Blizzard campus lobby, and they bring it to the Wowhead party every year.
Do they have that big one in Horde as well?
Yeah, they have both, and they've done like a giant Pachamari. They've done a gigantic red dragon that they gave the Whelpling. And Sass has chimed in to say that it's also his favorite commercial because he's actually held that giant griffin.
Ah, fair enough. But yeah, I think that one was really cute as well. And I think it's also a little bit of a sign from Blizzard's side as well because, you know, a lot of the original World of Warcraft players are older. A lot of the World of Warcraft players from the past probably have a young child at that age. So it's, I think it's definitely a smart sort of, I don't know if I should call it a move, but it's a really smart idea to have one of the ads be one of those, because I think a lot of people will recognize themselves as like, you know what, we have a baby, and you know what, I actually do have a wife who is into the Horde, and like I think they can relate in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and like, you know, people was like, oh, I bought a Pepe, you know, for my toddler, that the toddler loves Pepe. So they're definitely it's not just people wanting like a pristine shelf of plushies to collect. It's, you know, their families actually like playing with the plushies.
Oh yeah, definitely. It feels old, man. And I think a lot of these married couples who have children may have, you know, even met through World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it's very possible.
So I think when you think about those levels too, it becomes even more important to people in the sense of being relatable. But yeah, that was the second ad that I wanted to show you guys. We have another one. This one is called Elevator.
Battle for Azeroth begins August 14th. Declare your allegiance and pre-purchase now.
So this third one, I have to say, it's outside, like the core idea of it being in the elevator was the least interesting one, the least funny one, but having that scene transform into what's it called, game content, or like
the actual game footage, the gameplay.
The game footage made that one also one of the best ones, I think, because honestly, seeing that, you know, you see the Horde character, or you see the Horde guy, you see the Alliance guy, and then you see them as characters in the game, you know, like going mad and, you know, being ready to fight each other. And I think that was really cool. I'm actually sad that they didn't do more of that for the others too. Yeah,
maybe there's meant to be an escapist element, that they're in this, you know, boring elevator and kind of corporate dreary setting, but in the game they can wear these, you know, fantastic sets of armor and you know, have a much cooler life.
I'm sure they put thought behind why they put it in that one. I think the fact that they did it does put the ad quite high up in rankings, in my opinion. I think it makes it a lot better. But yeah, that was the one called Elevator. We have one last one to show you guys, and this one is called The Bus.
battle for Azeroth begins August 14th. Declare your allegiance and pre-purchase now.
I love how it continues into like after the logo and everything as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, this was it's a pretty funny one. It's a pretty funny one. I think a lot of people actually love this one the most as well. And yeah.
Yeah. You know, and it's very interesting who they're trying to target. I mean, like these are maybe not as old as the people with the toddler, but they are young professionals with some money. You know, they have nice laptops. They can, you know, afford to decorate. You know, they're dressed kind of cool. They're in an urban environment. They don't look like broke students running around, you know, in a library. So definitely with all these ads, you can tell that Blizzard is trying to target an audience that maybe doesn't have a ton of time to play, but they started playing 15 years ago and they have a strong allegiance to the game. And, you know, they're saying like, hey, you know, come back for the expansion, you know, show your faction pride. We don't expect you to raid hardcore 7 days a week, but you know, you love this brand, you know, you're loyal to Warcraft, come back. So I think that's who they were trying to reach with these ads.
Now that I think about it, there's none of the ads that actually targets young people, like very young people.
Oh, maybe they figure
like teenagers.
They have Twitch or, you know, esports, or this medium is not for them.
I wonder if they should have had one for targeting more, you know, maybe 15-year-olds kind of thing. I think the closest one is probably the girl and the guy in the rain.
Yeah.
They were
like
quite
the
young.
lighting is different on that too. Just looking at the thumbnails, the other thumbnails are all kind of like beige and like brown, but the thumbnail for that one is like very like red and purple, and it's nighttime. It's not, you know, daytime at the corporate office. So yeah, I mean, like so personally, out of all the promotions, I think the wrestling one is the most hilarious, and I like that the best. I kind of expressed a little with the toddler one how I like the plushies, but you know, with all the trolling going on between the factions and, you know, IRL tensions, I'm sort of like, does it, you know, like, I don't want to be a sports, but like, does it really matter what faction you are?
Aww,
you know, it's just
Park
that,
is too nice.
I'm just too nice. It's like, yeah, I don't like the memes where people are trying to make fun of the Alliance that are sad about Teldrassil, or the people saying Sylvanas is evil and should die. It just seems like, let's all get along. Like, I'm more in favor of the Legion style of storyline where it's like, let's be united and take something down. So,
and here I am yesterday, like tweeting hashtag for the Alliance, and whoever said for the Horde, I just replied with an angry face.
I understand what they're trying to do here. Obviously, this is not meant to be like a reality show. But there is that sense of like, oh, like this almost looks like reality, but they're acting kind of over the top here.
Yeah.
So it's not like your standard like epic cinematic that like pans out over, you know, a fantasy zone, highlighting the plot. It's, you know, it's deliberately taking an angle where they're trying to bring the tensions into real life.
Like, yeah, I mean, if that actually happened, like if an Alliance fan, you know, goes under somebody's umbrella because they thought the person was cute and they wanted to get closer to them, if they realize that the person is, you know, a Horde fan, I'm sure she wouldn't immediately go like,
yeah, so it has to be,
I'm backing off.
Yeah.
But I think that's what made them funny and lovely. Like, I love these ads. I think they're awesome. I think it would have been cool to have one more that would target kind of like a bit, I guess, older teenagers kind of just being crazy and playing like games maybe in like their bedroom or whatever, you know, something that would target a bit younger people as well. But I don't mind the older people targeting at the same time. Like I mentioned with the baby one, I think it's really cool at a different level how a lot of people will relate to that, because that they might today have a child and they might, you know, they might have met their partner through World of Warcraft and they may have played the game for over 10 years. So it's I think I like how that one can have so many meanings, and I also like how the rainy day is very funny. I like the girl's reaction, how she just like walks away, and yeah, I think they were all pretty cool. I also like the gameplay addition into the elevator one. I really like that because they don't like each other, but you see how they don't act, they don't show any of it, they continue standing right next to each other, but then in their minds they're at war, they're like jumping on top of each other, like, you know, we're gonna fight now. Or well, one was one a warrior, one a mage or something, and then they were about to fight. So that was cool to see. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it's also good that Blizzard knows their demographic as well. So, I mean, the ads don't seem out of touch. It could be weird if they were all trying to reach college students. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's sort of refreshing to see that they understand that people of different lifestyles, not just students that have like endless time to play, are their audience for World of Warcraft, even if it might be a younger audience for something else like Overwatch or Hearthstone. So, yeah,
that was where the last ads to show you guys, the last pieces of marketing.
Yeah. So we just wanted to have a quick reminder. We'll probably be doing this going up to BFA for the new Wowhead shop that is available. We launched it last week, and we have sold a lot of shirts and mugs, and people are starting to get them actually in. So they've been sharing pictures, and if you do get one in, you know, please share it with us. We'd love to highlight it. Currently, there are 5 designs on Designed by Humans, and you can get them in, actually 6 now, I think. And you can get them in shirt form, or mugs, or hoodies, or phone cases, lots of different things. Our most popular shirts are the Mount one, and a meme of Anduin blowing a horn in Sylvanas' ear. And based on popular user request, we have made a more business casual shirt that has just a small logo, no text, so you could wear it on like casual Fridays. You know, so if you want us to add any designs with small modifications, let us know and we can try adding them. And we will also have new pins coming very soon, including one of Pepe dressed up as a rocket, and a Murloc, and one of us actually. So yeah, we'll have that very soon to share.
Oh yeah, the one of us?
Yeah, that will be part of the series.
Nice. Nice.
So, one of us.
Have to get that.
Brightpaw. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Brightpaw joining us?
I had this idea. He should join us segment. Come on, baby. Come on. Okay. Maybe that was a bad idea. Well, he's in front of my screen. He just doesn't want to be held. It's okay, baby.
No.
Oh, now he's hitting the mic with his tail. And now he's off the
Still sounds okay, though, so I think it's okay.
Yeah. I was trying to, like, I don't know, hold him up and then, like, move over so I could be sort of next to you, and that would be what the pin looked like, but he wasn't, he didn't want that. But the pin will be the two of us with a little bright paw in the center. So, yeah, next time we should get some pictures of the shop so we can actually show off these designs when we have this little segment, because they're really awesome. And it adds a lot if you can actually see them and not just me saying, oh, there's a shirt and there's like an image over here on the shirt. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Sass has done a ton of work setting up the shop, so I know he really wants to see this go well. And if it does go well, then we can keep, you know, commissioning more and more artists to create designs for us and, you know, keep making the shop bigger and better.
Someone asked, do you both choose the design? So it's not me and Perk, but it's people at Wowhead, of course. Do we know who exactly is in charge of deciding on the designs?
Katsuki has been commissioning all the artists, and Sass has been handling a lot of the logistics, like setting up the actual shop and products they can be on. So they've done a ton of work for that, and I just sort of do the final approval or say, like, I want something with Pepe, or, you know, hey, I think this looks too close to a Blizzard logo, you have to change it. That sort of thing. And yeah, you know, if this goes well, we can make it into an even bigger and better, you know, business. That's the goal here. We want to do more creative things than just, you know, being a site that has to have ads on it. So that's why we try to do things like premium or, even more creative with things like t-shirts or pins and even a plush coming.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, you know, if you want to support Wowhead, we already have a lot of you guys who are, you know, subscribed to the Twitch channel. We have you guys who are subscribed to the Twitch, no, not Twitch, sorry, Wowhead Premium. And this way you can, you know, make a purchase that gives you something physical and still support Wowhead. So it's always great to have many different ways of supporting. People prefer different things. Some people prefer, you know, sticking to a subscription. Some people prefer getting a t-shirt. So it's you know, just giving more options to be able to support Wowhead.
Yeah, and you can get free worldwide shipping with any apparel purchase over 75 bucks.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yep. So I think that's about it for the show.
I believe that just about covers everything we wanted to make sure that we talk about. Do we, I think the giveaway is, I think there's a last call for giveaway in the chat right now. So if you're in the Twitch chat right now, last call for giveaway. If you want to enter the giveaway, you type Puffers in the chat. Puffers is Puffers. And do we have any questions lined up for today?
Yeah, one sec. Let's see. Some of them we answered before. Let's see. Oh yeah, so Lincoln 82 says, what do you think Blizzard left out from the Warcraft movie that should have been in it? Or like what seemed missing, I guess, from the pacing.
From the pacing?
Like what seemed like, oh, they must have left out a scene here, or this seemed to be too fast or not explained well, or like this character sort of showed up randomly. So what do we think seemed cut that should have been in the movie?
I think the main thing that I felt was the differences in the story. So there are slight different relationships in the movie compared to the lore itself. In terms of things missing, I'm not sure. What do you feel like was missing?
So I think, especially because they changed things, some of the backstory could have been seen more. So for example, we didn't really understand why the orcs were leaving. So if we had seen maybe how things were like lush and alive and then Gul'dan destroyed things, it would understand why they are putting aside their differences to follow him out of the land towards a better place. And Medivh's story was very confusing and not really explained at all. And apparently he, you know, met the orcs and, you know, Garona was his daughter, but like all that was, it would have been cool if there was like a flashback to where we actually saw, I don't know, maybe everything was like lush and happy and we saw Medivh meeting with, I don't know, the orcs at some point, like a little like prologue, like 10 years ago, this is what happened, just to give more context to the story.
I saw someone comment in the chat how the ending of the movie is almost the beginning. With seeing Thrall, because in a way that could also be seen as a thing, because you learn so many things about the different characters and everything, and then you see this little baby who, you know, from a point of view of someone who knows nothing about lore, a baby who has so much history, and what is going to happen to this baby. So I can definitely agree with that. Agree with that.
Merbert says that I saw the ghost on the boat with Jaina, being the ghost or spirit of her father. The beard matches his, and he is wearing the admiral uniform. Do you think this is true? I think we kind of answered it. We talked about how the robe was the same, but yeah, I feel like the spirit of her father is, it's present in some way, and it would also make sense why she is giving him the anchor to, you know, if that is the payment, showing that like she respects him as the leader of Kulturas in some form.
Yeah, because at the beginning, the the ferryman and paying possibly for forgiveness and going with him and being shown the path to the ship, you could still argue, well, it doesn't have to be her father just because of that, right? But we kind of see his face before it disappears, and she also refers to him, we think, because of how the camera is working, because she says, I'm listening now, father. And when she says father, he suddenly goes into focus, and you see his face with the facial hair and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear that it's meant to be him either as a symbol or something. Because you can remember that a lot of the things that are happening in this little cinematic is not necessarily physical things, right? A lot of them are
Right.
symbolic. So I think it's definitely meant to be there to symbolize her father.
Yep. Skiba TV says thoughts on the common theory that N'Zoth has his claws literally in Jaina's head, enhancing the feeling of hate towards the Horde. I'm not sure how common that is, but I think that there is something that maybe Azerite is heightening everyone's feelings, as we touched on. So, like, Anduin is very idealistic, and Sylvanas is more paranoid, and Jaina. I mean, it's common that if something bad happens in your past, like your memory kind of emphasizes the parts that stand out more over time, so and the nuance fades away. So yeah, it is possible that she is doing that, but I don't think there's anything specific to Jaina that wouldn't, I think if she's being manipulated in some way, all the other main characters are as well, because some other people are, their personalities are like getting a little more, like their main trait is getting a little more extreme, or like they're sort of digging down into their main trait.
Like enhanced.
Yeah. Adlurch says, do we have any more info on playable classes for Kulturan? Because that Warbringers got me hyped. We don't. We just know that they can be druids. There are some really cool totems as part of quest lines, so people are hoping that they could be shaman as well and use those quest totems. But right now we just know they are druids.
Yep.
And Kathis says, I would like to know if the song will be part of the soundtrack for BFA, or where we might be able to download the song that's just as awesome as the video. I don't think Blizzard, this was actually weird, so I don't think they had any plans for that. And in addition, on their page introducing the song, they didn't really credit everyone involved in the music and the vocals. Like, for example, the voiceover actress for Jaina, Laura Bailey, sung the song, which I think is special. But yeah, I don't think Blizzard expected the reaction to be as huge as it was. Maybe they'll be adding something in the future, though. But currently nothing now for that.
Especially because in the past they weren't songs either, so they would never really be considered a part of soundtrack. But it's a good point. It's a good point you made. And especially if the next episodes also happen to be songs, then yeah, very good point.
And Billum York wants to know for sure that she's in Theramore in the video. He thinks that she's in Kulturas. We think that she's in Theramore because if you look, there is a lot of magical energy surrounding her, like the arcane residue. And also in Reunion, she is in Theramore thinking about her past and has sort of an eagle eye view on Kulturas because, she's a mage and she can do everything special. And yeah, that would make more sense. And also when we do the questing in Kulturas, she's sort of like, oh, I've never been back here. So it gives the impression she's actually stepping foot the first time sometime later. That's about it for questions, but we have a giveaway winner. It is King of Lulz 11.
Ooh, congratulations. What was the name?
Yeah.
Kings?
King of Lulz 11.
King of Lulz 11. Congratulations on your new Puffers TCG pet.
Yep.
I think Puffers is it's a little fish, right?
Yeah, it's a little fish, and it comes in the little bubble, kind of like the Dark Moon fish. Yeah.
Congratulations. No more questions?
No, I just actually saw another news was posted. One sec.
Oh, more live news. Fish floating in a bubble. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. There's, well, so basically there are new videos called Prepare for War videos, and they're just like little short clips of close face shots of Sylvanas and Anduin preparing for war. Looks like the same artwork in what we've seen in the trailer, at Lordaeron. But nothing special, but if you like videos, we have, let me just play this quickly to quickly see.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's really just like they're turning their head, they're staring at the camera, and then it says, prepare for war at the end. So it's nothing too elaborate, not a super real commercial, but it's just sort of them glaring at the camera.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess it's interesting that Blizzard made these things, but yeah, nothing too fancy.
All right. All right. Well, I believe that about covers everything that we wanted to talk about, guys. And it is time for us to wrap up. I want to thank all of you guys for being around, being active. The chat has been very active tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for showing so much engagement and interest in what we're doing here. Hopefully you got some more insight into what is going on in the past week. And next week we will be back again covering whatever happened between now and then. Thursdays, as usual, 2 p.m. Pacific and...
No, 1 p.m. Pacific.
1 p.m. Pacific?
Yep.
I still don't know time zones. And 10 p.m. Central European time.
Yep.
And yeah, I also want to give a quick shout out to people who are supporting Wowhead using Wowhead Premium on Wowhead's website. If you're not familiar with what it is, it's a subscription which removes all the ads from the site and also gives you some extra little perks, such as having your own color when you're typing in the forums. And also, same thank you to you guys who are subscribed here on Twitch as well. Thank you guys so much for that. And I believe both subscriptions also gives you a special color in Discord, right?
Yep, exactly.
It does. So, if you are subscribed in one of the two ways, then you can remember that for the Discord channel as well.
Yep.
And Brightpaw's here for the goodbye.
Yep. Let me get my headset on. Yep, the little cat's here to say goodbye. Say goodbye, Brightpaw.
Brightpaw appears to say goodbye to everybody. He doesn't want to leave.
Goodbye.
Or he doesn't want you guys to leave without saying bye.
Yep.
There he is. Aw. All right. He's like, yep, that was it. That was my time. I'm gone now.
Yep.
I'm leaving now. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching and supporting. And we will hopefully see you again next week. If you had anything that was unanswered today, feel free to ask the question on YouTube. This will be posted on YouTube within an hour. Depending on rendering and all that, but hopefully within an hour. So you can ask whatever you want for next time.
Yep. So, yeah, until next week. And next week should be big news if we know why the tree is actually burning. So,
because we're probably going to find out Tuesday for NA, Wednesday EU.
Yep.
All right. Well, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Wait, should we do our high five thing?
Yeah, we should try to do that.
All right. So,
Okay.
3,
Me?
2, 1, go. That was pretty good. I'd say it's pretty good. You know, like a...
Brightpaw is right here staring at me like,
9
what
out of
are
10.
you doing? Yeah. He's just staring at my hand, being like, I don't
what
understand
are you
this.
doing?
Yeah.
If you're trying to high five me, my paw's right here, okay? It's down here, Perk.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Yeah, I see that the chat definitely agrees. It was a clear 9 out of 10. Kappa. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and see you guys next week at same time.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.